Good day, Ma'am. I am Cindy Abjelina from BSHM 38 and I'm here to present to you my report in Chapter 8, which is the Law Regulating Accommodation Establishments. So, before I proceed, here is my learning objectives. Identify the laws affecting the accommodation sector, identify the rights of hotel guests, and explain how quality and safety standards are maintained by hotels and similar establishments by meeting minimum requirements of the law. In the next slide, we have here the table of contents. And the next slide, which is we have here the nature and description of the business. The second is the building permits. The third is the general requirement of all buildings by use or occupancy. Four is light and ventilation. Fifth is sanitation. And sixth is the general design and construction requirements. So the next slide, we have here the nature and description of business. So business entities engaged in the operation of tourism accommodation establishments may be organized as single proprietorship or a partnership or a corporation. So first, we have here the hotel. So a building or premises that is completely independent part thereof, which is used for the regular reception, accommodation, or a lodging of travelers and tourists, and the provisions of services incidents thereto for a for. Second, we have here the resort. So any place or places with pleasant environment and atmosphere conducive comfort rather in healthful relaxation and rest, offering food, sleeping accommodation, recreational facilities to the public for a fee or remuneration. Next, we have here the tourism inn, a lodging establishment catering to transit which does not meet the minimum requirements of an economy hotel. Next, we have here the apartel, any building or edifice containing several independent and furnished or semi-furnished apartments regularly leased to the tourists and tractors and travelers for dwelling one or more long-term basis and offering basic services to its tenants similar to hotels. This type of accommodation is sometimes called as the service apartments. Next, we have here the pension hotel. It is a private or family operated tourist boarding house. So tourist guests or tourist lodging house employing non-professional domestic helpers regularly catering to the tourists and travelers containing several independent lettable rooms providing common facilities such as toilets, bathrooms, showers, living and dining rooms, and kitchen, and where a combination of board and lodging may be provided. The last one, we have here the motorist hotel or the motel. So in a structure with several separate units primarily located along the highway with an individual or common parking space, it which motorists may obtain lodging and in some instances meals. Next slide, we have here the building permits. So in section 301, building permits, no person, firm, or corporation, including any agency or instrumentality of the government, shall erect, construct, alter, repair, move, convert, or demolish any building or structure cause the same to be done without first obtaining a building permit, therefore from the building official assigned in the place where the subject building is located or the building work is to be done. In Section 302, in order to obtain building permit, the applicant shall file an application thereof in writing on the prescribed form with the Office of Building Official. Every application shall provide at least the following information. On the next slide, we have here the general requirements of all buildings by use or occupancy. So, in Section 704, location on property, in A general, no building shall be constructed unless it adjoins or has direct access to a public space, yard, or street on at least one of its sides. In B is the fire resistance of walls. Exterior walls shall have resistance and opening protection. So, accommodation establishments belong to the group B, occupancies under the National Building Code. Accordingly, it shall consist of multiple dwelling units, including boarding or lodging houses, hotels, apartment buildings, and other similar buildings which accommodate more than 10 people. The foregoing provisions gives the general requirement the location of the property to be established. On the next slide, we have here the light and ventilation. In Article 801, General Requirements of Light Ventilation is the subject to the provisions of the Civil Code of the Philippines on easements of light and view. And to the provisions of this part of the code, every building shall be designed and constructed and equipped to provide adequate light and ventilation. So all buildings shall face a street or public alley or a private street which has been duly approved. In Article 806, the size and dimensions of rooms. So, minimum sizes of rooms and their least horizontal dimensions shall be as follows. So, rooms for human habitations is 600 square meters with at least dimension of 200 meters. For in kitchen, 300 square meters with at least of 1.50 meters. In bath and toilet, 1.20 square meters with at least dimension of 0.90 meter. So in Article 807, airspace requirements in determining the size of the rooms. So in Article 808 is the windows openings. So the discussion of the law is the above provisions provides the basic requirements for a building permit to be based. So the law explicitly provides that no person or firm or association shall construct or erect any building or structure without first securing a building permit to be issued by the building official assigned in the place where the building or structure is located. So on the next slide, we have here the sanitation. In Section 901 General Requirements, it is said that whenever available, the potable water requirements are for a building used for human habitation shall be supplied from existing municipal or city waterworks system. So in case of drinking water from underground sources, it must conform to the criteria set in the latest approved national standards of drinking water. Such design, construction and operation of the deep wells for the abstraction of groundwater shall be subjected to the provisions of the Water Code of the Philippines. So the water piping installation inside the buildings and premises must conform to the provisions of the National Plumbing Code of the Philippines. On the last slide, we have here the general design construction requirements. So in Section 1201, there is the general requirements. So all matters relative to the structural designs of all buildings and other structures not provided for in this chapter shall conform with the promotions of the Natural Structure Code of the Philippines. So, subject to the provisions of Article 684 and 686 of the Civil Code of the Philippines on lateral and subjacent support, the design and quality of materials used structurally, its excavation, footing, and foundations shall conform to accepted engineering practice. And that is the end of my report, ma'am. Thank you.